Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Teddy covers! I'm Lawrence Presman. Welcome, everyone, to WagerTalk Today, even though it says May 11th. May 11th was so good, Teddy. We kept it twice. Oh, May 12th. The calendar just changed. Teddy covers, Lawrence Presman. Great show today, Teddy. Jam-packed with talent. Right off the top, Steve Merril. He's going to look at the Wizards-Hawks game and a couple of baseball games, including the Dodgers-Mariner game. And then we got Andy Lang on. Andy's going to do 3 props, 1 golf, couple of NBA, and, of course, Arthur DiCesare. You, my friend, upset me today. You don't know how, but your big game breakdown. What sport is it in?
It is in the NFL because we have NFL lines to talk about.
We do.
And when I talk about this game, I'm going to explain why this particular game in the NFL is worth betting on today as opposed to 4 months from now. So We'll get to that. Yeah, NFL week 1, lines, locked and loaded. We'll break them down shortly.
The reason I got annoyed by it, and it's not you, it's just seeing the NFL, is that the Canadian summer hasn't even started yet. So hold your freaking horses, man. I need a couple of months of sun before I even look at an NFL game. Brother, let's talk real quick about the WagerTalk live odds page. It is so spectacular. Rick and his tech team did such a wonderful, amazing job with it. One of our listeners had a question yesterday. They wanted to know about the color coding on the page. And real quick, guys, the way it works is the purple or mauve or maroon, whatever color you want to call that, the reddish family color, means that the line is changed in the last 2 minutes or less. The yellow color means that there's been a line change in the last 5 minutes or less. And the green color is that there's been a line change in the last 10 minutes or less. And to be honest with you, Teddy, the color coding and that information is really the most important part of the live lines page because it really does give you a heads up. Not all books act immediately, and when you do see a line change, that's sort of when you need to make your move if you're making your move on that particular game.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the color coding is to tell you what lines are moving. I mean, the old expression is the screen turned black. And obviously, black's not the only color. It's not black and white anymore. Now it's yellows and reds and greens. But when, quote unquote, the screen turns black, that means all the lines for that one particular game are moving. You know, there was a wise guy hit or a professional hit on a particular game. But when it comes to getting the best of the number, when it comes to line shopping, for both of those things, and again, these are little edges. It's going to get you 1-2% long term if you're getting the best of the number. Huge. When you add it, when you grade it, if you can turn 2 games out of 100, turn 1 loss into a push, turn 1 push into a win, you'll be stunned at what that does to your bottom line over 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 plays. It's insane the difference that it makes. The WagerTalk live odds screen can help you in that regard. It's something, again, I have it up all day, every day. I know you do too, and just about every pro bettor I know has a live odds screen running basically 24/7.
Teddy, before we bring in Steve Merril, what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports last night?
Oh, I'll tell you something I learned yesterday, okay? Which is kind of fun for us here in Vegas, where summer is already here, Prez. I don't know why you're worried about back in Toronto. It's 80, 90 degrees and sunny every day in Vegas right now. April's gorgeous, May's gorgeous, best time of the year to be in Sin City. And one of the things we learned yesterday is that we might be getting an MLB team as well. We've gotten an NHL team, we've gotten an NFL team, and now the official word is that the Oakland A's have MLB support looking for a new city. There have been 5 cities thrown out as potential destinations for Oakland, and all of this is bargaining, where the A's are trying to get a new stadium.
Yeah,
from
of course.
The city council in Oakland. I don't know if it's going to happen. I can't realistically think that it will. We're talking about Vegas, Nashville, Portland, Vancouver, and Charlotte as the top 5 destinations. But what did we learn from this? Keep a close eye on the Oakland A's. Some teams come together in these type of situations where you're like, hey, I don't know where we're going to play next year. I don't know where we're going to play next week. Some teams fall apart. The A's, after the news broke yesterday, they got a gem from Bassett, 2 strong innings of bullpen work, some clutch hitting in the 7th at Fenway. That's a positive sign the day the news comes out. I'm looking forward to MLB here in Sin City, but mostly, Prez, I'm looking forward to paying close attention to the Oakland A's and how they're handling this off-field distraction. So far, so good in that regard.
Teddy covers everybody. Teddy, what I learned is really straightforward, and I mean, I really follow this a lot. In-game betting, especially in hockey, it's got to be done on an algorithm, right? It's got to be done on, if it's 5-0, midway through the 3rd period, there's a math algorithm that puts the line out at over or under 6, for instance. There's a lot of opportunity to take advantage of that math algorithm, and especially in sports like ice hockey, where they really don't take the empty net opportunity in play. And the one interesting thing is, and I'm talking specifically about last night's Winnipeg-Vancouver game, which was 5-0. When a game is 5-0, even if there's a whole period left to play, if there's a full period left to play, the under is going to come out at 6.5. Take the under every time. Take it under 6, because one thing about hockey, as opposed to the other sports, look, when a bat hits a ball, it goes in the forward direction. Quarterbacks throw in a forward direction. Running backs and wide receivers run in a forward direction. And so on and so forth. Basketball players have a shot clock. At the end, they put the ball up, regardless of how many scores they are down. Hockey works differently. When these guys realize that a game is over, no matter what, say 5-0 with 12 minutes to go, all of a sudden, they stop skating. The team who is up just dumps the puck, lollygags around with it. The team who is down, they just stop jumping in front of shots. They stop trying to score. Everything just stops. And there is a ton of opportunity, and that happens a lot at 4-1 in the 3rd or 5-0 in the 3rd. So just stay focused on that kind of stuff, because if a game gets out of hand, just take the under in game, and you will make more than you lose. That's it for me, Teddy. Any questions about that?
I'm sure there's one, Prez, but I know we have a jam-packed show, so let's get right into it. Steve Merril, our first guest, and I know he wants to talk what? MLB and NBA. Let's bring him into the mix.
Steve, nice to see you, brother. Thanks for joining us. WagerTalk.com is where you can find him. And let's get your promo done right off the bat, and then we're going straight into the game, Steve. You've got a promotion up. You're killing it in baseball. Congratulations. And guys, if you buy the rest of Steve Merril's, his baseball package through to the All-Star game, so the next few months of Steve Merril's baseball, you will get the rest of his NBA all the way through to the champion is crowned on the house, a $299 discount. So head over there, what's the promo code, Steve?
No promo code needed. If they purchase either the baseball through the All-Star break or through the rest of the regular season, either one of those longer-term packages, they get the rest of the NBA for free. That's the final week of this regular season, and all of the playoffs through the final. That's $300 in your bankroll for free right at the start. and you don't have to do anything. It'll be with that baseball package. It's quite simple. And the reason I'm doing this, Prez, is because I think the NBA playoffs over my 25-year career has been the most consistent moneymaker in all of sports. And I think baseball is the best moneymaker of all sports because it's a 7-month season with double the games. So this is basically a 2-for-1 profit special. Get baseball through the All-Star break or longer. You get the rest of the NBA for free. Automatic.
Awesome stuff, Steve. Let's get straight into it, man. Wizards versus the Hawks. Over 239.5. The line -7. I think it's moved already. Tell us where you're going in this game. Yeah, 6.5.
Yeah, it's dropped a little bit since I sent this last night. It's 6.5 now. Not many sports books. Only a couple had the line last night. It was 7 at most of them. It's now 6.5. Total was around that 239.5 mark last night. It's now 238.5. And I agree with that move to the under. These teams just played on Monday. You know, I love talking about these quick revenge situations. That game totaled 249 without Bradley Beal. Obviously, it's hard to ever recommend the Wizards under, but I think it maybe works here. It's still a very high total. And what Russell Westbrook has been carrying this team, you could probably hedge it a little bit with some Westbrook over props. He obviously had another huge night against Atlanta. One thing that jumped out to me about that game is the Wizards were up by 1 at the half and then got outscored by 18 in the third quarter. So they were down by 17 entering the fourth and only lost by 1. So you might say, hey, that was a misleading 1-point loss, and it somewhat was. But I think the Wizards bring it tonight. I think they play hard again, and I'm not going to underestimate Russell Westbrook. You know, Teddy and I talked a lot about him last year on the NBA Tip-Off show, how he had seen his prime. He did not do well in Houston, but if you take out that season, he has averaged a triple-double each of the other 4 seasons, including this year. He had 21 assists Monday without Bradley Beal in the lineup, which is insane. So I'm not doubting Westbrook. I like the Westbrook props over. Hedge it maybe a little bit with the game under because I think we get some value there. And I look for the Wizards as well to keep it close once again.
So I certainly saw some Hawks quotes that indicate they're interested in the defensive side of the basketball tonight after Washington had a huge fourth quarter against them in the first of these 2 meetings. But at the same time, the Hawks are 4-0 to the over last 4. The Wizards now 6-0 to the over last 6. These are streaks you're stepping in front of. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, a couple other things to point out about that last meeting. The Wizards 50% from 3-point range, 15 for 26. The Hawks 23 for 26, 89% from the free throw line. As you mentioned, Teddy, they had 74 points combined in the fourth quarter, yet the game only totaled 249, which is only about 10 points higher than this line. So, you know, we always talk about everything has to be priced to perfection for these high totals, and that is normally true. I think that happened the other night. I think there will be more defense in this game. You know, more defense. We don't need much defense to get under 238.5 still.
Steve Merril, everybody. Steve, let's talk about the Minnesota Twins, Chicago White Sox. A -136. The total was 8. It's still 8 at a bunch of shops, but we are seeing some 7.5s on the WagerTalk live line screen. I'm going to just guess that you're going with the under.
Aha, I tricked you, Prez. Yeah, the under makes a lot of sense if you look at the overall numbers. But the reason I wanted to talk about this game is because with baseball, I think it's very important that you look at road numbers only. And the reason I do that is because you get some really hitter-friendly parks like Coors Field, even Chase Field, Toronto this year playing in a hitter-friendly park. So I like to look at road numbers. That also ensures that the team is batting a full 9 innings every game. You know, so you get a true number on the stats there. And 2 of these teams have the best OPS, on base plus slugging. It's a nice overall metric for offense. Twins, best road numbers this year. White Sox, 3rd best numbers offensively in the American League in road games only. And the Twins are a team I've been keeping an eye on. They've underachieved this season. A lot of it has been offensive reasons. They're kind of feast or famine. They live by the long ball. So it's not a surprise that, you know, they have up and down swings, but they're leaving a lot of guys on base. It's something that's not talked about a lot. Dave Koch and I talked about on the baseball show yesterday. Dave said the lineup that they don't have some punch there in the middle. That's why guys are left in base. I somewhat agree with that, but I think in the long run, these things even out. Twins have now left 10 runners on base or more in 3 of their last 4 games, and they've only had 3 runs and 3 runs in each of those last 2 games. 26 runners left on base, 22 combined hits. So they're hitting the ball better than the runs scored is indicating. So I think we get some value now with the over. And you got to point out the White Sox against lefty, as Teddy's knows. Last year they crushed left-handers. They're doing it again this year. They're almost double the runs per game against left-handed pitchers. And now it's gone from 8 to 7.5 in some books, like you mentioned, Prez. So I think this is actually a sneaky over. I know we got some good pitchers on the mound, but we're getting a nice price because of that.
So I want to ask you about those good pitchers on the mound in terms of Happ and Keuchel, two guys who are both off to very good starts, two guys who throughout the course of their careers have been up and down. Let's just put it that way. Are you worried at all about the hot starts from these pitchers? And would you prefer a first 5 over versus a full game over? Or is this a situation where these are two guys that you expect to come back to earth pretty quick? Tell me about your thoughts on the starters.
Yeah, no, definitely want the full game over, Teddy, because they are two good pitchers, and the Minnesota bullpen has been really bad this year. So I don't think you definitely do not want to play the first 5 over. I think this one's pretty straightforward on that regard, that you want the full game over. Let's get that bad Twins bullpen, the mediocre Chicago bullpen, into the game and get a full 8.5, 9 innings to get that over.
Steve Merril, everyone. Steve, let's talk LA Dodgers, Seattle. Minus 250 for the Dodgers, a total of 8. I'm not even going to guess. Just regale us with your handicap.
Well, you kind of know which way I normally go with the Dodger games, Prez. It's always the other team on the money line or the Dodgers on the run line, right? So you had a 50-50 shot at either be Seattle big money or the Dodgers minus 1.5. Hey, on the baseball show yesterday, Drew Martin, he loves his big dogs. Great host of MLB tip-off at 2 p.m. Eastern every day on WagerTalk TV. MLB first pitch. Basketball tips off afterwards with Joe Ranieri. But $2 underdog with Seattle, and it was looking pretty good for Drew. You know, you don't have to be right too often at 2-1. Mariners are leading halfway through that game. Then that Dodger offense explodes for 8 runs in the middle of the game. That's the second game out of 3 now where they've hit the ball pretty well offensively. I think that's the buy sign. This team was on a 5-15 slide before that over the previous 20. I never try to catch that falling knife. Playing the other team outright has worked like a gem, but playing Dodgers run line has also worked well this year. They win by margin. Let's look at their last 4 wins over the past month. 8-0, 16-4, 14-11, 6-4 last night. So you get the Dodgers from 250 down to basically pick them, minus 120 on the run line. And I like the over as well. This is another 8 to the under. I like the over here. I think we've got that buy sign with the Dodgers offense. And despite the 5-15 slide, they still rank near the top in the National League and all those road offensive stats I was talking about. So this is still a very good team. And I think we maybe got that buy sign finally with that comeback last night.
Wonderful stuff, Steve. We love having you on. Your analysis is world class. Guys, you can get Steve Merril's baseball package right up until the All-Star game. And if you do buy that package, you will get his NBA till the champion is crowned on the house, $299 value. No coupon code required. Steve, anything to promote?
No, that's it. It's a great value. Once again, baseball through the All-Star break or longer, and you get the rest of the NBA for free. It's $300 in your bankroll instantly. No code needed. Just buy baseball right now and get basketball for free. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com.
There you mic drop, get out. Teddy's big game breakdown. Andy Lang, Arthur DiCesare, penalty box segment. Stay with us, everyone. 20 seconds and hit that like button.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Sports Memo? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily picks purchase using coupon code TRYMEMO. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to sportsmemo.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, pick a daily picks package, and use coupon code TRYMEMO at checkout, and save 50% off of your first purchase.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And you know me, I want to give you actionable info for today. This is actionable info for Sunday, September 12th. But the fact that the NFL lines are up is a beautiful thing. It's an absolutely beautiful thing because we know now the season on the horizon. And to see these numbers just warms the cockles of the heart. I put in the notes this morning that I wanted to talk about Minnesota minus 2.5 against Cincinnati. The concept is real simple. All right. There's only one reason to make an NFL bet in May for a game that's not going to be played in September until September. There's only one reason to lock up your money. And that's if you're going to get a number that's not going to be there, that's not even going to be close to being there 4 months from now. I thought that was the case for the Vikings, and especially when it's around a key number. Minnesota opened 2.5 as road favorites at Cincinnati. I've talked about the Vikings a handful of times. Talked about it with Drew Martin on the opening line report on Monday, saying that Minnesota, when you talk about hot commodities in the betting markets this offseason, for the NFC, the Vikings have been as hot as it gets. You look at everyone else in the division, no one trusts the Bears, no one trusts the Lions. There are all kinds of questions about Green Bay. Minnesota off a bad season under Zimmer has been real good. Last year was injuries, et cetera, et cetera. The markets are expecting a strong bounce back from the Vikings this year. And Cincinnati is in year 2 of a rebuilding process that's going to take more than 2 years. And everybody knows it already. So at 2.5, the Vikings were a great bet. Well, what I post that maybe 45 minutes ago, an hour, 2.5s are gone already. It's 3. So unfortunately, we've missed the best of the number on Minnesota. That said, lots of books are going to open today. Don't know where they're going to open their numbers at. Take a look at the Vikings as a potential bet on team right in week 1. Even a field goal, Minnesota's going to go off 3.5 or higher in that game. It wouldn't shock me at all, barring serious injury. So look to the Vikings right now, today, as the lines come up. We missed the very best of it. We may get it back, but I expect that the number will continue to move in the direction of Minnesota. Like Minnesota over Cincy, week 1 NFL. That's the big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy, let's keep it moving. Andy Lang joining us, bright red shirt. Andy, you were texting me. You wanted to know if Teddy bet the NASCAR race. And
the Formula One race.
Yeah, the
Formula
One.
The one with the guy that I didn't know who he was?
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, did you bet
racer. No, I didn't bet it. Did he win?
By 20 seconds. Going away.
Nice. I should have bet it, clearly. I think I left it. Did I leave a note for I know I left a note for myself, but I missed it. That pisses
next
me off.
Race,
Thanks,
I'm
Andy.
just gonna next race. I'm just gonna put $100 on it for you, and that way I can send you a winning ticket. That way you remember who Lewis Hamilton is.
Sure, or that way next time that I see you, you're like, "Hey, dude, give me $100." I'm like, "For what?" You're like, "Oh, that's that I made."
You owe me $100. Yeah.
I love seeing my friends that way. The first thing, and me and my buddies from back home, that's what we do. We always bet on something so that when they come out to Vegas, when you see them at the airport, you're like, "Hey, dude, give me $100. Give me $100." It's just just so one of us has to shell out to the other one, so we have money to go drink right away. Sorry, go on.
Great stuff.
Andy Lang, everyone. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. And Andy, let's get straight into it. Golf. Matthew Fitzpatrick, match play against Will Zalatoris, who we're all familiar with, except likely Teddy. Teddy, you heard of Will?
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
Andy,
I haven't heard Matthew Fitzpatrick either.
That's all right. That's all right. I know some of these bets that I bring on here, it's easy to go over like the really big games or Monday Night Football or anything, but I really want to make sure I'm bringing on the plays that I feel the best about. And if they seem obscure to people, the most important thing is giving out winners. So I want to come on here and just give out all my best stuff. And it may involve a couple golfers that Teddy has never heard of. But one of my favorite angles in betting on golf is fading guys who have distractions outside of golf. The mental side of golf is unlike any other in sports. Overconfidence can get you. Underconfidence can get you. Just takes a little bit of weirdness to mess with somebody's head and affects their golf game. I like to fade golfers who just have newborn babies. COVID has been great to fade golfers that have COVID. You can get a couple months of fading a guy. And I like to talk about Will Zalatoris and why I'm fading him. He is new, up-and-comer, talk of the tour. He's had some really good finishes, and then bang, he finishes second at the Masters, and now he's feeling himself. So Teddy, what does he do? Proposes to his girlfriend. She says yes, because now, okay, so now guess what comes? Sponsors come a-calling. Now he's really feeling himself. This golf thing's easy. Second at the Masters. I'm engaged. All of the sponsors are coming. And the next two tournaments, 42nd and missed cut. So he immediately falls off a cliff when all of the notoriety comes his way. And I'm going to fade him again. Matthew Fitzpatrick, fantastic European golfer. He has been great this year coming over and playing at the U.S. tournaments. 5 finishes inside the top 11 in his last 7 U.S. tournaments. And he's gearing up for a run at the PGA Championship, which is next week. He's got a real chance to win that thing. He is in the groove. He's in great form. Zalatoris is a hot name on tour here in the States, but all the value is on Matthew Fitzpatrick in the matchup. I'm taking Fitzpatrick, and honestly, I don't think it's going to be close at the end of the tournament.
Fitzpatrick over Zalatoris, pick number 1 from Andy Lang. Let's shift over to the NBA for tonight and talk about the Brooklyn Nets and the San Antonio Spurs. Brooklyn on the second of back-to-backs here. And they're expected to get James Harden back in the lineup today. The money's pouring in towards the Nets, but you think there's a Spurs player that's likely to benefit from this matchup. Let's talk about Keldon Johnson for a moment.
I have no idea why, but for whatever reason, I've been really good at Keldon Johnson props this year. For whatever reason, I can't explain it. I just know when he's going to have a good game and know when he's going to have a bad game. He had 2 terrible games against the Jazz. The Jazz are a great defensive team. There's no knock on him for that. So the next game after the 2 bad games against the Jazz, I went in on him, released that play, and it was against Sacramento, and he had a great game. The next game I laid off him against Portland. It was a blowout. He goes under his point total. And then I'm on him again, and he has a great game against the Bucks in a win. So for whatever reason, I'm hitting it with Keldon Johnson. I think he's going to go over this 11.5 points tonight. One thing that's been making it tough in NBA for props is blowouts. This is not a blowout situation game. Both of these teams are playing for seedings. Brooklyn is trying to catch Philly and fend off Milwaukee. San Antonio sits in the 10 seed. They are trying to stay ahead of New Orleans and Sacramento. And, you know, on the surface, you would say, well, if a team is going to blow someone out, it's probably going to be Brooklyn. But they are not blowing anybody out these days. They haven't won a game by double digits in their last 7. So I think this is going to be a pretty competitive game. And the Nets, not great defensively. They give up over 21 points to small forwards. I like Keldon Johnson to get through the defense. Brooklyn's coming off of a back-to-back. I really like him over 11.5 points tonight.
Andy Lang, one last prop real quick, brother, as we are up against it. Russell Westbrook. I'm guessing over on everything.
Yeah, I'll
like
make this real quick.
Play.
Yeah, you don't need a whole lot of write-up for this. He's gone over this total. This is just rebounds and assists. And the number's unbelievable. 27.5 rebounds and assists. He's flown over this total in 5 straight games. Merril already went over this. They play Atlanta, no Bradley Beal. Last game against Atlanta without Bradley Beal, he had 34 rebounds and assists. Atlanta's the 3rd worst team in defensive efficiency against point guards. I'll come back to it again. I don't see a hangover after he broke the record. They're still playing for their playoff lives. Take him over his rebounds and assists.
Andy Lang, you've got a promo to give out. Do you want me to do it? No, you do it. You're better at this than me. Or maybe you should get your mother to do it.
My mom is 1-0 in her WagerTalk career. She hit her 5% play. That was one of the better moments, the best Mother's Day gift I've ever given her. She cannot stop talking about it. Yeah, the promo code is PROP50. This is a really, really good promo. You get $50 off of 3 months of props. And why this is important is that's going to include all NHL and NBA playoffs, which have a ton of props. You'll also get MLB props, and it also includes my golf and NASCAR props. So you're getting a really, really smoking deal, $50 off. Just use the promo code PROP50 for all of my props.
Outstanding. We love having you on. It's why you're a regular weekly guest on WagerTalk Today. Get out of here, my brother. We are going to bring Arthur DiCesare in, but first, Teddy covers. I did not ask you. I hope the answer will be good. How did you do last night?
I went 1-2, and I was very frustrated last night because I took a good-looking NBA card and turned it into 2 losers and left out basically all the right sides, which is, I feel like I've done that a lot this year in the NBA.
Dude, it is the worst. I did that on Saturday in the NHL where I just screwed up. I went 1-2 and like the 5 plays I didn't make my card 1. And man, I tell you, it just eats you up. I went 2-1 last night. I finally took my own advice and bet the over in the Blue Jay game. That did not go well for me, but I was a bad running decision away from at least a push. Don't understand why that Blue Jay held up at third. Jonathan Davies. But anyway, I just wanted to make mention, Teddy, everybody is looking at me like, I'm killing it in NHL, Prez and NHL. Teddy, I'm killing it in NBA as well. I mean, in all seriousness, I have cashed my last 3 NBA days in a row, 17 of my last 24 NBA days. My 4% plays, 65% in my last 71. So guys out there, don't sleep on my NBA. I am just, it's been 2 months of just really good NBA. Teddy, Art's going to join us in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tell you my penalty box segment because we are up against it today. I have a hard stop. So this is the penalty box, everybody, and we can stare at Teddy while we're doing it. Yeah. Okay. Are we? We don't need that, Joe. Are we? Okay. So here we go. We got a great card tonight in hockey, but everybody, you guys need to tread carefully. There's really no unbelievable value here right now. The season is over. There are only 2 games tonight that are of any substance, is ultimately the Vegas San Jose game and the Colorado Kings game. Tonight, the Habs are playing Edmonton, plus 105 for Montreal. I like that play, Teddy. I think there's a lot of value there. I think as the day progresses, and we saw this with the Washington Capitals yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if Connor and Leon don't play tonight, but even if they do, they're going to get way less minutes. And Washington's on a 4-game losing streak. They need to at least come into the playoffs feeling a little better about themselves. I say this game is more important to Montreal. Take them at plus 105, and I would bet them right now. I also like under 6 in the Montreal game, Teddy. 6 goals. This Montreal team is struggling to score, and although Edmonton has gone over the last 3 games in a row, this team is just 0 to play for. I expect that game to be 2-3, 2-1, 3-1 Montreal final score. The next game is Ottawa playing the Leafs tonight. Yeah, I mean, some will argue that these last 2 games for the Leafs are important. If they end up moving up in total points, they will play Carolina once they get through the North, as opposed to the Avs or Vegas or Tampa Bay or Boston or Washington. I think they would rather play Carolina, but I don't think they care that much. Ottawa has been a feisty team the last 2 months. They are plus 150. Freddie's coming back. He hasn't played in months. Take over the total in Ottawa and the Sens at plus 150. That's the penalty box segment. Where might you got him? Okay, well, that's the penalty box segment, Teddy. Feel free to ask me anything you want about ice hockey, bro.
Sure. So, one of the things that happens, obviously, sometimes behind the scenes, as Joe's struggling to get guests in and out, sometimes we have a few technical difficulties, which means we're going to bounce around the show a little bit. And when Joe says in Prez's ear, we don't got him yet, that means me and you got to make some talk. So what would you like to talk about? All I want to do is talk about week 1 NFL. We should give out those numbers for week 1, if you'd like me to do that, Lawrence.
Go, Teddy. Go, brother. I mean, I haven't looked. Like, flat out, I don't even know who's
it's exciting, man. NFL week 1 is exciting. Dallas, Tampa Bay, Thursday night opener. Right now, we're looking at the Bucks -6. I see a 53 and a 51.5 as early totals. Again, there's variance right now. All right. Week 1 NFL. Bills minus 5.5, 6.5 against the Steelers. Total 50.5, 51, 51.5. Again, right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, we got Carolina minus 3.5, minus 4 against the Jets. Total 43, 43.5 in that game. These are all early start games for week 1. The Jacksonville Jaguars are road favorites in week 1, which means only one team they could be playing. That's the Houston Texans. Jags minus 2, 2.5, total 45.5, 46. Tennessee and Arizona. We got the Titans 2.5, 51.5 in that game, and that's across the board. The Chargers at the Washington football team. Chargers road favorites anywhere from minus 1 to minus 2 at the open. Total 44.5/45. Again, virgin numbers just popping up as we speak. Philly at Atlanta. Look at the Falcons, minus 3.5. There's even a minus 4 out there already. Total 46.5. William Hill is at 47.5 for that ball game. The Colts and the Steelers. Indy, minus 2.5. There's a minus 2 and a minus 3 out there as we speak for Indy. Total 52, 52.5 against Seattle. The Vikings, I talked about them a few moments ago, at minus 2.5. Well, that's gone. Minus 3, 47 out there. There's a 48.5 out there. There's even a minus 3.5 out there right now with the Minnesota Vikings. San Fran, minus 7, 7.5 at Detroit. Total there from 46 to 47. Kansas City at home against Cleveland. Chiefs, minus 5.5, minus 6. Total anywhere from 52.5 to 53.5 in that game. We've got the Patriots and the Dolphins. That's not fully lined yet. The books that have posted have New England minus 2, minus 2.5. Total 45.5, 46. Look at the respect for the Dolphins in the betting marketplace. Denver and the Giants. I'm seeing Denver minus 1.5 at one book. I'm seeing the Giants minus 1 another. I'm seeing a pick 'em at a third. Total anywhere 42.5, 43. The Saints and the Packers. Most books don't have a number up on that game, waiting on what's going to happen with Green Bay. The one book that I do see has it up has the Saints minus 1.5, 51. Sunday night football, Rams against the Bears. We got the Rams minus 7. There is still a 6.5 out there here in Vegas. Total anywhere from 44.5 to 45.5. I thought that there might well be some Rams money. We might well see some more Rams money. That 6.5 here in Vegas, not likely to last. And last but not least, Monday Night Football, no doubleheader week 1 this week. I don't know this year. I don't know why. We like those week 1 NFL Monday Night Football doubleheaders. That said, the Ravens minus 5.5, total 51 in the global marketplace, 52 here in Vegas. That's the week 1 openers, Prez. What do we have right now?
Teddy, I got to tell you, I mean, 2 plays jumped out at me right off the bat. The over in the Tampa Bay game and Atlanta Falcons. So write that down because you know I'm not going to play either. And I will remember, you'll remind me, and both will win.
Okay, I'm not going to write them down.
Yep.
Go bet them now, and then we can laugh about how much money you've lost on the Falcons in the last 5 years. Because you have, I don't know what it is about that team. You always fall in love with the Falcons. You're in love with that team.
Teddy, we got 5 minutes and a almost clean-shaven Arthur DiCesare. So why don't you, and we'll bring Arthur DiCesare in. Arthur, nice to see you, brother. Well, kind of nice to see you. I mean, are you making a porn video with your wife or something, throwing it up on the, like, we can't, it's all blurry.
It's all blurry.
That's okay, dude. Are people betting into these NFL lines already?
Eventually they will. Absolutely. You know, the NFL is like anything. It moves the needle, just like the NFL draft, the interest in that. Once these lines come out and people see the matchups, people will definitely start betting into these numbers for sure.
So, Art, I know we're short on time today. I know we had some technical issues. I want to thank you so much for joining us today, despite all the chaos. I want to ask you about the playoffs. Again, we're in the last week of the NHL regular season. We're in the last week of the NBA regular season. As we move to the postseason, is there any legitimate change that the betting market that takes place in the betting market? Should the odds makers do anything different in the playoffs they do in the regular season? Are teams being priced on their potential as opposed to their actual results in the postseason. Talk about the lines making process after the regular season ends.
Yeah, Teddy, I would say there's definitely a little bit of teams getting priced on potential, but also, you have series, especially in the NBA. Once you have the series, the longer it goes, there's zigzag theories, there's all this. You get into a situation where, you've now taken the bad teams out. You're basically only playing with good teams. I mean, I know the NBA, half the teams make the playoffs, same thing in hockey, but yeah, you start to see, I would say, tighter lines because we see more matchups. There's more of a sample size of these teams playing during the year. Injuries probably aren't a factor in the NBA with the guys sitting out, this, that, and the other. So to me, it's always a little bit tighter once you get playoffs.
So when it comes to the action for today, and I know we're a little bit short on time, Art, so I got to cut to the chase. What are we seeing in terms of wise guy support in the markets? Who do the recreational bettors seem to like, and who do the wise guys seem to like in early betting action on Wednesday?
I would say right now in the NBA, the one to throw out is we opened Brooklyn -3 against the Spurs. It's now Brooklyn -5. So you've seen Brooklyn support. Pelicans were minus or getting 10. Now they're +8. So you've seen a 2-point move there. So a couple things in the NBA. The NBA, like you said, when it's the end of the season, there's really not a lot to play for. It's tough to handicap a lot of these games. So you see people lay off a little bit. And I've seen that in the NHL, unless we were talking like Prez and I last week about people taking the overs. So right now in the NBA, it's just those two to speak of.
What about an MLB? We seen anything in terms of the baseball card for today? And then Prez wants to ask you about hockey.
Absolutely. Baseball's got a bunch. The first couple I'll mention are, not smaller moves, 10-cent and 20-cent moves. You got the Astros who are -114 against the Angels. They're now -125, so a little bit over a 10-cent move. You've seen a little bit over a 20-cent move with the Indians at home, -108 it opened against the Cubs, now -130. And the biggest mover is the NL Central. You got that nice rivalry game. Brewers, we opened -146. It's now -175 at home against the Cardinals. So almost a 30-cent move on that. Those are the two best teams in the Central. They should be going back and forth all season. So that should be a fun series. But you have seen a 30-cent move on that game.
Arthur DiCesare, everyone. Sports book director at the Linq. Can't wait to come see you. I'm going bananas. But in all truth, and Teddy doesn't know this, but it's actually Marco that is pretending to be Art. Anyway, Art, hockey, season's pretty much over. We're in the middle of no man's land right now. Almost no teams are playing for anything. Are you noticing that? Are you taking it, are the bet volume or sizes dropped? Or is there a real opportunity here that I'm not seeing, but some of your wise guys are?
No, Prez, I'm with you. I think the wise guys, even the public, guys like us who love the NHL, it's just let's wait till playoffs, man. Playoffs are only a handful of days away. It's tough to sit down on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday and really try to handicap any of these games. You've definitely seen the pullback. But I will say this, I've definitely seen the guys who I see on a daily basis in the book being like, I cannot wait for the playoffs. This is going to be such a fun, this format this year. So I think it's going to be a lot of, we're going to get a lot of action on these playoffs. I'm very much looking forward to town. They're going to be good, Stanley Cup favorite. So you're going to see a lot of NHL.
Art, real quick, follow up on that. We've got 4 series prices up already. Boston, Nashville, Islanders, Tampa Bay. Do you have any opinions on any of those lines? And then we got to call it a show.
Right now, I would have to dive into it a little bit more and really look at it. So I don't want to give anything out yet. I think when we start talking, about those, I personally like the Bruins. I know I'm probably in the minority here.
I do too.
I've been a Bruin guy, even as a Ranger fan. I hate to say that, being the Bruins here, because as a Ranger fan, you're supposed to hate the Bruins. But I actually think the Bruins here are nice. So I would say Bruins if I had to lean one way.
I'm with you 100% on that. Arthur DiCesare, everyone, race and sportsbook supervisor at the Linq. Follow him on Twitter at ArtDice21. He's an incredible follow, a great friend of the show. Teddy, Art, I'm out of here. Take us home.
Sure. Thank you so much, Arthur DiCesare, for joining us today. I also want to thank Steve Merril and Andy Lang for being a part of the program today. Of course, my co-host Lawrence Presman, and behind-the-scenes Joe Ranieri, taking care of business on what was a hectic day on the backside of the camera. Most important of all, I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us on WagerTalk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon on the east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Want up-to-the-minute scores and odds direct from Las Vegas? Then check out our WagerTalk odds page. You'll get all the latest lines along with moves as they happen from all the biggest books in Las Vegas, including Westgate Superbook, Circa, Golden Nugget, Wynn, Stations, CG, and South Point, just to name a few. Best of all, it's absolutely free.